Good morning. It is 10:45, so 9:45, quarter to 10 on Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. Um, I'm bored. I'm bored. I need to get things off my chest, but I'm not sure where to start. It's a lot. Um, for starters, um, my husband Willie and I have officially unenrolled our daughter, Kaylee, from the Newberry County School District. She is no longer a student of the public school system anymore. I will be taking over her education completely in terms of I will be homeschooling her. I will be taking care of all of it um, until we find a school system that she is able to integrate into and not have any issues. With that being said, that also means that when we go back to Kentucky in less than 3 weeks, she will not be going into either the Lyon County or the McCracken County School District. Back into either of those because she has been a student in both school districts. She will not be in Lyon County, which is the school district for where my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law and my mother-in-law's boyfriend live, which is out in Kattawa. She will not be back into that school district at all, nor will she be back out in the McCracken County School District, which is the school district for the city of Paducah, which is where we used to live when we got evicted from the trailer. Neither one of those school districts did her any justice. They both failed her. Same with the Newberry County School District down here in South Carolina. That school district also failed her. I was mentally going through my head last night of all of the school systems that my daughter has been in since she started 4-year-old pre-K, like preschool, at the age of 3.5, almost 4. And that was pretty much the only school system that didn't screw her over. And that school system is out in Silver Lake, Wisconsin. And it was the same school that my niece, or mine and my husband's niece, actually went to when she started preschool. And then when my daughter entered kindergarten at the age of 4, because her birthday falls with where her birthday is, most school with where her birthday when her birthday is, oh my goodness, I cannot talk. Most school districts will let us pick and choose, do we want to start her that year, or do we want to hold her back? Because her birthday does fall, she's one of those lucky ones where her birthday literally is September 1st of the year. So this past September, rather, on September 1st, she turned 15. But when she was 4, we were able to go ahead and have her start kindergarten at the age of 4, and her birthday in Illinois, because we were living in Illinois when she started kindergarten, their school years start in August. So Illinois has only been back to school now for, 2 months. The same thing with South Carolina. They also start in August, but that means because they start in August, their school year actually ends in May and not June. Whereas because Wisconsin, their school year starts in September 1st, ironically, they don't get out of school for the summer until June. But when she was in kindergarten, I didn't have an issue with that school district. She made it through the entire year of kindergarten, no fuss, no muss. She was actually my one kid. She was actually the kid that whenever, because she liked going to school so much in kindergarten, whenever she got sick and the doctor like said, you can't send her to school for this many days, she would actually cry. She would cry. It was really sad. So then first grade was honestly our very first go around with homeschooling, and we were doing that because I was really, really sick at the time. Like, I was dealing with a brain tumor and I was on chemotherapy, and my immune system was so fragile that I couldn't have her coming and going to and from a physical school. So I homeschooled her through first grade. And then second grade, she was back in a mainstream school system. It was the second and third grade. Second, third, and fourth, it was the mainstream school system she was back in. Second and third were the East De Pere, because we were on the east side of De Pere. East De Pere School District. And that was the school that was right across the street from the house. I could literally look out the kitchen window and see her school. And then fourth grade, when she was in fourth grade, we moved from De Pere to Green Bay. So she was in the Green Bay public school system. And that's when COVID hit. And then we had to go to distance learning and homeschooling. And so by the time fifth grade had rolled around, I was working in the medical field, and I'm like, I'm not having the chance of my child going to and from school, catching something, bringing it home, me catching it, and me potentially bringing it to my residence. So when we started looking at the online public school options, which is when we discovered Wisconsin Connections Academy, and she did that for a year. And then that was fifth grade. And then sixth grade, so by the time she was in sixth grade, we had moved and we went to she was in Hemlock Creek. In West De Pere, because we'd moved. And then Hemlock Creek, she was only there for like a year, and then we moved, or we're still in the same school district, but now she's going to an intermediate school, so she was doing West De Pere Intermediate. And then West De Pere Intermediate is when we started having the issues with bullying. So here it is. She's seventh grade. We're having issues with bullying. My husband and I pull her, and this is when I started making the videos about her schooling. My husband and I pull her from the West De Pere School District and put her in the K-12, back in the K-12 program, but instead of her attending Wisconsin Connections Academy, she's now going to Wisconsin Virtual Academy. And she was doing that up until we moved from Wisconsin to North Carolina. We get to North Carolina, and she's withdrawn from Wisconsin Virtual Academy, and she's put back into a mainstream school system. I don't remember the county, but the school was Holly Middle School. Holly Middle School I don't ever recommend anybody sending their children to that establishment, because they don't do jack crap in terms of bullying, because she's still experiencing the bullying, and this time it's not just coming from students, it's coming from administrative staff. And it took my husband and I, like, literally telling them, I'm like, if this does not stop, we will be calling the cops, because bullying is illegal. We will be getting the police involved, and y'all need to knock your shit off. So then at that point, while she's still going to the school, like, we ended up moving from North Carolina right around the time that Kaylee had gone on, like, Holly Middle School had gone on their spring break. So that's when we moved from Franklinton, North Carolina to Kattawa, Kentucky. And I just we never put her back in a mainstream school system. I just finished out her homeschooling for 7th grade that year. And then we put her for 8th grade. We put her in Lyon County Middle School. And sorry, there's a bunch of trucks driving down the road really slow, and it's freaking me out. We put her back in Lyon County. She's going to Lyon County Middle School. And then that's when the bullying got freaking worse. This is when I was talking about in previous videos where the school system was actually punishing her for sticking up for herself. And this was them punishing her for sticking up for herself after they were telling her, don't let the bullies take your power. Stick up for yourself. So she's doing that. She's doing what they are telling her to do. And they punish her for it. So then we move. So we talk with the principal, we talk with the guidance counselor, we talk with the truancy officer. I mean, we went to the school, and we were having sit-down meetings left, right, and center with anybody and everybody. And the decision was finally made. Let's pull her from the school physically and have her do her classes virtually. So she's doing that. She's doing her classwork virtually, this, that, and the other. She's all good. Everything's copacetic all the way up through Christmas break of that year. She goes and she does her Christmas break. After which, in Kentucky, they get 14 days for Christmas break. So she goes to log back in after Christmas break, that first Monday after Christmas break, and her access is denied. And my husband and I are calling the school going, why can't my daughter access her online platform to do her schoolwork? Oh, well, she's been withdrawn. She now has to come back into the mainstream. I said, no, she's not going back into the mainstream. There's a reason we put her on the virtual OLS platform. So we pull her from that, and then I take over the homeschooling. We move to Paducah, which is a completely different school system. She goes into the mainstream school system, which at this point, now it's McCracken County schools. I don't even remember the full-fledged name of the school, but it was McCracken County School District, and I believe it was McCracken Middle. Or Paducah Middle School, something like that. And we're having issues with her health, starting to decline. This is when she started having the seizure activity. So my husband and I, and at this point, like, having her do it online wasn't going to be an option, because both my husband and I were working full-time. I was working at Lynx. My husband was working at Lynx. We were doing Amazon and Spark on the week, on days that we both had off. And just so we could, maintain the bills for the house and the car payment and everything else. And then October 28th of 2024 rolls around, and my husband gets laid off from Lynx because of his health. They tried to say that he was call avoiding, and so then I'm at Lynx by myself, and the seizure activity starts with my daughter. So then we're going back and forth to her doctor, which that's the other thing that we have to figure out. And once we get back to Kentucky, is we have to get her a new pediatrician, because I'm not taking her back to, okay, cherry picker. I'm not taking her back to Kattawa Clinic. I don't think that it's right that this clinic, the main doctor, the only doctor in that clinic, full-fledged MD, walks into the office and treats her patients dressed as though she had just walked in from the fields. I'm talking overalls, work boots, straw hat, and gingham shirt. Whereas the nurse practitioners, which is what she and I and Willie were seeing when we were patients there, were the ones dressed in full-fledged scrubs. Not to mention, they don't know how to properly manage diabetic patients there. So we're going to go for a different healthcare system. Probably the Paducah system, not Kattawa, because Paducah seems to be, they seem to know their stuff a little bit better than Kattawa. And I get it. Kattawa and Eddyville are small little hole in the wall places. So they really don't have access to larger facilities, but still, geez. So anyway, so we're going. I get a referral from my daughter's doctor in Kattawa for a pediatric neurologist, which the only neurologist close enough to where we were physically living at the time, which was Paducah, was Vanderbilt Children's in Nashville, Tennessee. So we go to Tennessee, and at this point I had accepted a new job. Because remember, I graduated from Ultimate Medical Academy in October 2023. It took until October 2020. Sorry. It took until January of 2025 before I finally found a job working in some capacity in the healthcare industry. And that's when I found the job at Ambulance Medical Billing in Paducah. I only left AMB, which is what everybody refers to it as because we had to move. We had gotten evicted from the trailer in Paducah, which that whole situation was a freaking mess, and I don't want to go into it, at least not in this video. We'd gotten evicted from that. We were back living with my mother-in-law, her boyfriend, and my brother-in-law in Kattawa. My brother-in-law is finally, for the first time in 5-6 years, working again. Thank God. And that's something I'll go into in another video. Not that he's working, but why, how he started working again and why he wasn't working for that long stretch of time. Anyway, but my brother-in-law is finally working again. This time he's working at, I want to say either Marshall's or Ross, something like that. My mother-in-law is not working. Her boyfriend's not working. I honestly can say without a shadow of a doubt that the entire time that my mother-in-law and her boyfriend have been together, the boyfriend has not done anything for work. He has literally been mooching off of and living off of my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. My mother-in-law was working up until she got into her accident in May of 2024. And now she's not working again. But he, the boyfriend, as far as I know, has never worked since they've been together. So we're back. I'm still working at A&B. We're living with them again for a time being. And they start going, well, the boyfriend now has to have surgery because the boyfriend, tell me how my mother-in-law finds every freaking man that she's been in a relationship with, meaning her 40 plus year marriage to my late father-in-law, and now her relationship with this current boyfriend. How have both men ended up diabetic? Which, by the way, the boyfriend was not diabetic when they first met. I think he developed diabetes because of the way my mother-in-law fucking cooks. It's a miracle. It is a freaking miracle that, as far as I know, my brother-in-law has not yet developed full-fledged diabetes. He's pre-diabetic. But I don't think, as far as I know, he has not developed full-fledged diabetes. But I honestly attribute the fact that the boyfriend developed diabetes because of the way my mother-in-law cooks. So the boyfriend and my mother-in-law are not working. My husband is trying his damnedest to find a job. He couldn't find a job. I was working at A&B. And the whole reason we ended up having to move down here, which, by the way, that move was my mother-in-law and the boyfriend's idea, was because they kept saying the boyfriend had to have surgery on his foot. And he was going to need to sleep in the recliners in the living room. He wasn't going to be able to maneuver into the bedroom and blah, 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 blah. So I'm forced to give up a job that I went to school and busted my ass for 18 months to get. And I busted my ass and worked for just over a year at a company that treats their employees like they're disposable. And I finally found this job that I like. I'm working just 5 days a week. I have my weekends off. And I'm forced to give it up because we have to move down here. So then we move down here. We get down here in April of 2025. So I worked for that medical billing company, that ambulance billing company, from January to April of 2025. Literally, January, February, March, April. Less than 5 months. And I have to give up that job. We moved down here in April of 2025. We're down here for maybe 2 weeks, and I get hired on at Family Dollar. I get the job at Family Dollar. I'm working, I'm going, and she's like, when I get hired on, she goes, all you have to do is run register. You don't gotta stock, you don't gotta do any of that nature, you just run register. Okay. No biggie, I can do that. Dry patch. On my 3rd day of employment at the Family Dollar down here, the manager approaches me and she goes, how would you like to become assistant manager? Because I like the way that you know your stuff, you know your way around the register, you know what you're doing, you don't take anybody's crap. I literally, my second day on the job, I had somebody walk out of the store because I wasn't going to give them cigarettes when they were 75 cents short on the total. It's cigarettes. If it was candy, maybe. A bag of chips, maybe, but not cigarettes, not tobacco, and not alcohol. So, and then I move up to assistant manager. And my second night alone, or no, my first night alone after, because I wasn't properly trained. Like I said, the handbook that I was given for management, I was given this handbook that was stapled together and it was handwritten on computer paper about how to be a manager and what you needed to do and step by step and blah blah blah. And it was like these people don't know how to run this store. And like, even people that I've met down here that know of that store, they all say that store is absolute crap. They can't keep people there for very long. Well, I now know why, because they don't properly train their employees. So I left, and I'm still looking and blah 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 blah. And then I get hired on at this company. They're called Insight Support Services. And it's another call center. And it was supposed to be doing like FNOL type work, like what my husband had initially gone to Links for, because he initially got hired on as FNOL, but then he couldn't continue going to training, so they fired him for that. But then they brought him back 4 months later, and he got State Farm. So I got hired on as FNOL for this Insight Support Services, but they didn't want to properly train. And all the training that I was getting was happening on the floor with live calls happening around me, and it was all videos. There was no separate space that new hires were put in to train. It was ridiculous. So the companies down here do not like to properly train new hires. Why am I going to waste my time applying for job after job after job after job down here when the jobs that I do get hired on for do not properly train? So now I'm dealing with my daughter, who's having issues with the school and her health, and I can't find a job that'll properly train me. So my job, at least until we get my daughter's health under control, and I've explained this to her numerous times, is going to be homeschooling my daughter and going with my husband when I don't have to have her doing work. Things are definitely coming to a head between us and the friend that we're staying with. It's gotten to a point where we're kind of keeping our distance from each other unless we absolutely have to. It's just not a good situation, like to the point where I'm done. I am done with the Jehovah's Witness crap. I want my holidays back. I want to be able to celebrate, birthdays and anniversaries and things again. I want all of that back. She still thinks that when we go back to Kentucky, that I am going to continue studying and practicing and learning about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not. That, in fact, my husband and I, because we're talking about, only being in Kentucky long enough till we get our tax returns and then starting over fresh, quite possibly in Oklahoma, which is where I was born. Which if I am pregnant, which there's a very good chance that I'm pregnant, I am having a little bit of bleeding right now, but nothing that I would even constitute as a period. So I'm thinking that it's implantation bleeding because my husband and I were very active for the first 4 to 5 days in my fertile window after my last period. And I've been feeling like I might be pregnant. So we're hopefully when we go out today, if we go out today, we make enough money that we can buy some pregnancy tests. But we're seriously considering moving to Oklahoma when the tax returns for next year come in. Just because it's really, from everything that we've seen, is a very affordable to move to live in Oklahoma. Housing is cheaper. There seems to be more of an open job market out there. That's the problem that we're having. It's not just jobs out here, it's housing. There's not a lot of housing that is advertised. There's not a lot of properties that are advertising that they have space for rent, anything like that. So along that line, the friend's mom who gave us the money for the car that I'm sitting in, which she keeps threatening to repossess, and we've told her, you cannot touch this car, your name is not on the title, and if you even attempt to touch this car, you will be arrested for theft. So she threw out about a week ago, she texted me and she goes, well, what about buying an RV and living in an RV? I couldn't afford, you took out a loan on your credit card and gave us the cash for the car. Where the hell are we going to pull money for an RV from? So I have essentially, and she's not going to see this because I've blocked her on YouTube. I've blocked her from finding my channel on YouTube. I haven't blocked her because I want to be able to see if she posts anything fucking stupid, which she tends to do. I've blocked her on Instagram. Now, she's tried to request me again, but I said no, not happening. And I have since about 3 days ago, I went ahead and I blocked her number completely on my phone. So if she tries to call or text me, she's not going to be able to because I have her number blocked. I also have her daughter, I have the friend's daughter blocked from finding my YouTube channel, just so that the friend's daughter can't stumble upon this and be like, oh, by the way, this person is saying all of this shit about you on her YouTube channel. Yeah, no, I've blocked those. I've blocked that from ever happening. But so yesterday, my husband and I, because she's griping about the car, needing the car payment, which, okay, first of all, my husband does start a temp job tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. He starts a temp job tomorrow. And it's only on the weekends. And it's going to be enough money just to get us, it's out of here. We're going to take my SSI and whatever money he makes, and we're leaving on November, I think we've decided November 4th, purely because November 3rd is when the food stamps come in, and we want to make sure we have enough food to travel back on. Itchy. So I just, we're counting down the days. I think it's less than 2 weeks until we leave, and I'm ready to go. I'm done with South Carolina, and honestly, once we get back to Kentucky, it'll be a hot minute before I before myself and the friend start communicating on a regular basis. Because like my husband and I discussed the other day, she likes to hide behind her religion and her health conditions as a reason for why she can't do something or she won't do something. And it's like, dude, it's part of fucking life. You can't get away from it. You can't hide behind, you can't use your religion and your medical conditions as a way to not do something. It's like she's on her period right now, and she's literally said to me twice today already, I'm on my period, so I'm not going to be going to the meeting tonight. I'm going to be Zooming from home. You're on your fucking period. Just get your ass out of the house, get in your friend's car, and go to the meeting for 2 hours. Get out of the house for 2 hours. Otherwise, you're going to be driving yourself fucking nuts. And you don't like it when my husband and I go out and Kaylee's in the living room. That's why whenever we do go out to do roadie or Uber Eats, we do move our daughter from the living room to the bedroom where my husband and I are, because she doesn't like to be alone with the daughter. And it's ridiculous. So I can't, like I said, I just can't. I'm counting down the days. I can't wait until we can just get the fuck out of here and be done with the friend and her mother. It's just, I'm done. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. It's been a lot, and I'm ready to be done. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Not quite sure when I'm gonna upload it, but I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.